Hi, this is Shanker, and today I'm coming after a long time to make this video. Been busy with a lot of things, and again, planet which I love and which intrigues me most is Rahu, because it's a karmic planet, and it has got a relationship with all other planets. Rahu in eighth is one planet where people see and dread. Now, yes, Rahu in 8th is not good. Rahu in 8th and Rahu in 12th are like smoke. They actually they do not make you understand what to do. It's smoke in the front of your eyes. You actually do not know what you're doing, where are you going. I'm not here discussing whether you'll be prosperous, whether you're rich, what happens if Rahu, whether you're a big scientist, could be anything. But your whole mental attitude will be that there'll be a smoke in the front, there will be uncertainty in the whole scheme of things which are there. So Rahu in 8th and Rahu in 12th do cause this. But here I'm going to go specifically discuss about Rahu in the 8th house. Now Rahu in the 8th house is generally, it becomes very bad when Mercury is in the 4th house. When Mercury is in 4th house, it will give the effect of Rahu being in 8th. Remember this. When Mercury is in 4th house, I have seen, and Rahu is in the 8th house, the effects are devastating. And they are so bad that they can do anything. Anything and everything is possible. The sudden nature of Rahu, sudden accidents, sudden changes, sudden downfall. So Mercury in 4th and with Rahu in 8th or Rahu in 12th is a double whammy, and it creates a lot of problem. Why it creates problem is because whenever Mercury is in 4th, it spoils Mars. And Mars is the only planet which controls Rahu. The strength of Mars actually controls Rahu. Rahu is an elephant. It is like a huge elephant. And the person who controls the elephant is Mars. So, whenever Mars is in 12th house, it can control Rahu. But at no other place, Mars is able to control Rahu fully. So therefore, if Mercury is in 4th house, Rahu is in 8th house, let us not talk about 12th house at the moment, I'm not discussing that. And Rahu in the 8th house, it's a double whammy where a person कहते हैं कि राजा से फकीर बन सकता है. From a king he can become a beggar. Rahu always gives a change. It is not a planet of constancy. It's a planet of change. So and whenever, remember one thing, in Rahu, the two planets which govern Rahu, which govern Rahu in a subtle way are Saturn and Moon. They also govern Rahu in a big way. So you have to see how Saturn and Moon are placed, especially how Saturn is placed. If Saturn is placed well, then Rahu will not be that bad. But if Saturn is not placed well, the Rahu will create more and a greater impact and more negative impact for you in your life. That is what Rahu does when it is in 8th house. Whenever Rahu is in 8th house and Mars is not well placed, like Mars is also not good when it is with Sun and Saturn are together. When Sun and Saturn are together, the planet which bears the brunt of this particular combination is Mars. And when Mars is not good, it is unable to control Rahu. So you have three planets which Mars as well as Rahu both acting against you when you have Sun and Saturn together and Rahu in 8th house. So I'm going to just conclude here two things. Whenever Rahu in 8th house, it is not good. It will create problems for you. It will create sudden changes. It is like smoke. It can give you, kind of a destiny which is which swings from one side to the other side. It gives you disillusionment. Disillusionment does not mean that you have to be a very poor man to be disillusioned. You could be a billionaire to be disillusioned also. Because if a watch stops, it doesn't mean time stops. It is only the watch which has stopped. So it is that kind of disillusionment Rahu gives when it is in 8th house and Mercury is in 4th house. It aggravates it. When Sun and Saturn are together and Rahu is in 8th house, it again creates greater problems. Third, the planet which controls Rahu is Mars. So if Mars is weak, Rahu will create greater problem in 8th house. When Mars is in 12th house and well placed, not with Sun and Saturn. Sun, Saturn and Mars together is also not good. When it is in the 12th house, alone preferably, without Sun and Saturn for sure, then it can control Rahu and in a very good way. It can make it positive. It can make Rahu very positive. So this is how you have to see Rahu in the 8th house. It is not only that, what I want to tell you here is, people try to see the depositor, people try to see the planet which is aspecting the 8th house, planets of Rahu. That will color Rahu. No. See, please, as a matter of research, please see Rahu in 8th, Mercury in 4th, Rahu in 8th, Sun and Saturn together, what happens? Now, when Rahu in 8th is there in Mars and it is good, it can make you from a beggar, it can make you a king. It has that kind of potential. It has got that kind of karmic energy in it. It can sway you to that. But your fortunes will be always like a seesaw. Sometimes will be up, sometimes will be down. But it can take you from one level to an extreme great level. A rickshaw puller can become the owner of a fleet of taxis, right? Example, when Rahu is in 8th and it is good. So that is what Rahu in 8th can give you. Rahu is also a planet which is also has to be seen by two other things. One is Saturn, second is Moon. If Saturn is strong, Rahu will give you better results. So the strength of Saturn is very important when you have to see the impact and the results of Rahu. And Moon is like a mother. Rahu treats Moon like its mother. And even in certain books, Cancer, Kark Lagna, Lordship is Moon. It is supposed to be the Mool Trikon sign of Rahu, but I am not going into that at the moment. Rahu treats Moon as his mother. So the Moon and Saturn, how they are, also gives a kind of impact on how a Rahu will behave in its movement, because Moon governs the movement, how it moves. Suppose Rahu basically is for material things. You are a scientist. Will you become a Nobel laureate? Would depend on Rahu in 8th is all about occult, science, research, finance. So many things today. Positive things are also governed by, everything is governed by Rahu. 8th house is a very important house today. It's your, hidden money. Everything is it's governed by Rahu. So it's also Saturn and Moon. Saturn shows how big, how strong the elephant is. How large and strong you are. I mean, what you can become. And the way you'll move in becoming that, whether you'll go straight and keep on going up, or whether you'll go zigzag, or you'll go down and come up again, would depend on Moon. So this is a very important thing which I want to make you understand today in this video, is that Rahu's potential has to be seen by Saturn and Moon, by seeing how Saturn and Moon are. So the first part I told you was Rahu in 8th house. It is a good place. It becomes better if Mars is in 12th house. Mars is the controller of Rahu. Mercury in the 4th house will destroy Rahu in the 8th house. Rahu's strength will depend upon two planets, Saturn and Moon. So they tell you how well and how high you can rise. Now, so this is how you have to see Rahu in its own way. Also, if you get into other books, if you get into other books you've seen, Rahu is always considered as the roof. So, roof is Rahu. So, any change in the roof which is done, it impacts Moon and Rahu. Moon is the change. Moon is the planet which causes change. So, whenever anything is done on your roof, any construction, or you change your roof, छत जिसे हिंदी में कहते हैं, any changes there, that disturbs Rahu. And that is a very important thing in Vastu. So I personally believe that, Vastu of perfect Vastu for an apartment is not possible. Because there is roof and roof over roof, and things keep on happening in every roof. So apartments are not really the benchmark for a person's destiny. You should have a house which is from the ground till the top should be owned by you. Then I take your 25th floor also as your floor. So Rahu is somewhere concerned with the floor. So it is always advisable that those who are rich, those who have big houses, don't disturb the chat, don't disturb the roof, don't break the roof often. It does not mean that you do repairs in the roof, you can, but you don't change the roof, you don't break the roof, you don't change the roof, you don't do too much of tinkling with the roof. That would create problems in the movement of the good and bad things which are happening. Good may become bad, bad may become worse. So that is one thing which I have observed as far as Vastu is concerned with respect to Rahu. Now, Rahu in the 8th, as I told you, by itself can make you a millionaire, can give you everything, but it will always have that vacillating tendency which it has. I've already explained to you how Mercury impacts Rahu, when Mercury especially is in the 4th house, how Rahu's strength is to be seen, and which is the planet which actually can control Rahu, and that is Mars. So this was my research on Rahu in 8th house. So Rahu in 8th house has to be seen with all these perspectives in mind when you see a natal horoscope. Rahu in 8th makes the millionaires, makes the billionaires, makes the politicians, makes the scientists. It also makes those people who are at the lowest above life. Now, whenever Rahu is in 8th house, I'm going a little more now, in 8th house, issues which are performed for planets which are inimical to Rahu, let's say Venus. Venus is not exactly a friend of Rahu. So whenever a marriage is performed, there will be problems. Venus has got an age 21, Mars has got an age of 28. So whenever Venus, Mars, Sun, at 25 is Sun, Venus, Mars and Sun. These are three planets. Whenever the issues of these ages of these come, this is ballpark. 21 is the Sun, 24, 23, 24 is your 28 is Mars, and Venus is 23, 24. So between these times, and it is this time when a person actually gets a job, he gets married, and he tries to build prestige for himself with his boss or with his superiors. So whenever Rahu is in 8th house, between 21 to 28, there will be 3 years where you will have issues with marriage, will be large issues, big issues, and on the ballpark days which I have told you, they're going to be negative. So this is a short and a very good way of telling what will happen. I mean, you will have problems. Marriage at 21, 22, don't do it. 28, job, if you are in job, you will have problems. 24, 25, prestige, some harm in prestige. So be careful at that time. Whenever Rahu is in 8th house, it will create problems in these areas. Now it is Rahu which gives you also everything, which I have also told you, and also told you the negative things and how it is negative. But Rahu is an agent of Saturn. Remember that also explained to you, and how it also is impacted the moon. Rahu's impact, positive or negative, is till the age of 45. After that, Rahu's impact, the negative impact, the sting which it has, reduces after the age of 45. One more thing I want to tell you about Rahu is that whenever you have Rahu and a Saturn next to it, and then Ketu, it is the head and tail. Rahu, in terms of Rahu is the upper part of the body, and Ketu is the lower part of the body. So whenever you have Ketu, whenever you have Rahu, and then Ketu, and in between you have Saturn, especially only Saturn there, it's going to be a tough time. Again, this may not give you, tough time doesn't mean that, there could be other things which negate it, which are positive also. But whenever you have Saturn in Rahu and Ketu, and you have Saturn in between, and you have Rahu first, then Ketu, like if you have Rahu in Libra, and Ketu in Aries, and Saturn in, let's say, in Scorpio, life is going to be tough. Especially with respect to a lot of issues till the age of 36. It is going to be a tough life. Life is not going to be easy. Depending on where Saturn is and how Saturn is, it will make things bad for you. So this is one very important aspect which you should always remember, and it has always been right whenever I have analyzed it. So this is what is about, my explanation about Rahu in 8th house, which I have tried to explain to you, and how to see Rahu. Now this would apply for most of the houses, but Rahu in 8th is a house which has the potential from raising you from a very low level to an extremely high level. But the caveats which I have told you should apply, should be strong. If they are not, then it can also put you down to the pits and make you fall down heavily. Especially Rahu in 8th, I have also seen whenever Rahu is in 8th, and people who have made money by extortion, by stealing, by bribery, I've seen them losing their money. Not entire, but at least 75 to 80% of the money is lost in some way or the other in trying to preserve what they have earned in this way. This is Rahu in 8, especially I've seen it in a lot of horoscopes. Rahu in 8 tends to, this is just came to my mind sometimes, Rahu in 8 tends to make you lose money which is earned by bribery, extortion, and ways which are akin to this, then you are bound to lose money, and 80% of the money I've seen is lost. So it will make you make money, but it will also make you lose money, depending again upon the strength of other planets. Viz. Number first is Saturn, second is Mercury should not be placed, third is Mars, fourth is Moon. So to see all these planets together and then see the power of Rahu. Thanks and bye for now. Any questions? This is my research. I'm not a professional. I do not look at horoscopes, study horoscopes of people. I don't have the time. But anything you ask me, my mobile number is 98 187 33000 or 98 187 33000, 98 187 3300 to repeat. I don't take a call there, but you can please send a WhatsApp message on what you feel, what is your research on Rahu, and we can share. We can increase our kind of exchange of what we have noticed, researched, done, and that helps us all. And that is what is important, because at the end of the day, astrology is when you are born, is the balance sheet. Like, a company has a balance sheet of at the end of March 31st, and when you're born with that balance sheet on 1st of April. But it is not necessary that that balance sheet will remain the same. It will also depend on a lot of other things where people do change a lot of things which are bound to happen by various other methods. Sanskar, environment, so many other things like that, which is non-prarabdha, the free action, the free will you have. So every year when you die with a balance sheet of your karmas. You know them, we know them. And that balance sheet you're born with, but it is not that exactly that balance sheet will happen. Things will happen, things will get modified, things will change, pendulum could become reduced, your reactions could change. You have the choices and you have the willpower which changes. That is why we call it predictive astrology. I predict that this probably would happen. But then that's a different subject altogether, which we will discuss in some other place. It's a long video of 23 minutes. I don't know whether people would see it, the entire video, but anybody who's seen it, thanks a lot. Thanks and bye for now. Thank you very much.